co-hosts.
Alex Hodge.
Hi. So today
Hello,
we're
Mike.
off with a question of advice that I've been going through, and I know a lot of people out there would really benefit from this. So I'm having this problem of people who think it's okay to, take advantage of me or walk all over me. What are the best ways to make it to where like you have that self-confidence and other people can see that self-worth enough to that they do not walk all over you?
I think to get there is a recognition and a realization that for people to survive, we have a certain level of selfishness that is required, contrary to popular belief. We've always been told kind of this narrative: don't be selfish, be a selfless, virtuous person. And there's a dichotomy to that. You want to be a certain degree of selfish. You want to have enough self-worth to say, oh, I deserve this. I deserve to be able to get up and meet my needs, to be able to satisfy my needs, special needs, and then the wants, whatever I want, I'm going to go up and get it myself, right? Having that ability to get up and do that, but without having to rely on figures around us to get it. We're just going to go after what I want, Like if I wanted to get up and go to satisfy my hunger, I'm going to cook myself something to eat. If I need to lay down for a bit, I'm going to go down and go and sleep. So having enough of that self-respect, but also being able to grow some teeth and be able to say no, or being able to having that self-worth, so people that you treat yourself with respect, and you also will treat because you're potentially dangerous. You're potentially a dangerous, you can see we have eyes in the front of our heads. We are the predators. See, we have canines. We are the predators. You know how like lions respect each other for the most part? Tigers respect each other for the most part because they have the capacity to tear each other apart should they so choose to, but they don't. They keep that at bay. So it's that discipline of, I think that comes with, and I think that will bring on the feeling of less and less being walked all over by other people. It is our ability to walk ourselves to get what we need and want, having this enough self-respect and worth to say, oh, I deserve this. I'm going to go meet my need.
So then on top of that, like being able to tell people no, like, no, I don't want to do this for you. Mm-hmm. How, like, I know you probably deal with guilt at times. How do you overcome that? I mean, I know we've talked about this several times before, but it's so hard.
It takes practice, and I think it takes a fair degree of repetition of meeting your own needs. That's pretty much it. I think other than that, it takes time to get into a good routine of meeting your needs, and you feel good when that happens. Like you feel good when your needs are met, and you notice that feeling. You're like, oh, how can I feel that way again? There's nothing to feel guilty about that, like whatsoever, right? Nothing. And when you realize that, oh, I don't have to feel guilty to get up and do this to meet my need, then I feel better after. Nothing to be guilty of for that because I feel better. There's a certain, like I said, there's a certain degree of selfishness that you need to.
It's required to
teach yourself to overcome and have that feeling of guilt that won't be there anymore. It takes time, it takes repetition. It takes, I think, some beliefs also are worth updating and looking into about yourself. Beliefs about yourself,
So that brings us into the topic that you wanted to talk about, updating beliefs.
Yes. You ever run into someone who is so pig-headed and so, even though the evidence is clearly there as to and they're so anxious, or they're so set in the way of their either be anxiety or whatever they've got going on. They can't update their own belief, even though I just walk away from that eventually. It's like, okay, I want to keep my brain, my soil fertile. I don't want it to turn into a desert where I'm set in my ways. Because we run into this every now and then, right? We run into people who won't, because they're stuck in a desert. It's like, okay, well, over here's an oasis, brother. I mean, I'm telling you, this is the way to get there. But then they don't have the proper attitude about themselves, and they want to stay in the desert because that's comfort for them. You know, they're set in that negative environment. Okay. And the ability to keep the belief systems updated is also to assume that the person that you're listening to might know something that you don't. So if I'm speaking with somebody, even if they're less on the growth scale, like if there might be something there that I don't know. In fact, I need to, and I haven't done this yet, but I need to apologize to a buddy of mine. Actually, I had an update of beliefs myself, where Callie, you mentioned to me how Social Security income works a little bit more clearly than my other buddy could. And I used to have this belief because I thought there must have been a way that you can like make money and save a little bit and kind of build your own platform, and then you can use that money to then you can find a job, and then you've got your own sustainable income. You can come off of Social Security disability. Well, I found out that there's some people that can't work. They're not work ready yet, and those are the people that really need Social Security. They can't have that cut off. Otherwise, they have no stream of income. Because I found out that you can only have like a certain amount, either 1,000 or 2,000, but you cannot go over that. You can't. They won't let you go over that amount in your bank account, else they'll cut it off completely, and there's no more access to no stream of income. So these people have to go spend their money, and they spend it wildly. Like, I'm like, this is nuts. This is stupid. To me, it was dumb because of my belief of saving your money. And then I realized, oh, there's a reason that they're doing this, because they have to spend a certain amount off in order to get a sustainable income to live off of, because they can't work. They're in a position where they're not work ready, which pisses me off, because you know how many taxpayers are dumping money into this. Hopefully there's a generation that comes along where there's less people like that. There's more high performers that solve problems and make an income for themselves, are able to generate their own net worth. But also what pisses us, older generations off, is that they don't have to work for it. That's what gets us in a bit of a nut. But I had to update my belief on that, because I'm like, okay, he's not doing the spending spree and not saving his money. I thought he just wasn't doing it because he was being weak and scared. I thought it was because he was being weak and scared. That was my belief. I thought it was just weakness. I thought it was just fear that was stopping them from having their own net worth somewhere, right? Where they can find I'm like, okay. I have my system, my belief was updated on that because I got some new intel. So I'm going to apologize to my friend, because I really pushed him into trying to save up, and really tried, I really tried, it's like, okay, I'm like, why isn't he doing this? I would do this, like if I had Social Security disability income. I mean, I'm just going to say it because hopefully we'll never have to do this. I would find ways to save money in a jar, use it to get things so I can find a job, get a printer, I get my resume set up, and then find a job and start working to get my own income, so I can come off of that low status, crap. excuse me for tooting my own horn about Social Security disability income earners, but that could have been me. That could have been me. I know that could have been me back in the day.
One of the things about like saving the money, putting it in a jar and stuff, if Social Security were to find out, that you
Yeah.
that money in cash, then it's very likely that you would have to pay them back.
Yep. Didn't know that was a thing either, that they can see the pattern. So I used to believe that they were just being weak and scared. That belief has been updated. I understand now as to why people are living this way.
Another thing with Social Security is you have to keep a track of receipts and stuff so that they can see the pattern of what you're spending it on.
Okay.
So they
because
very well.
Okay, because I knew someone, and my ex-relationship used to do this too. She kept all the receipts. I used to wonder why. Okay, because she has Social Security disability income too. Oh, okay. Oh. So finally it clicked, and I realized, okay, he's not just doing this because he's being weak and scared. There's an actual reason that he can't do this, and he can't get himself work ready to gain his own income. So I'm going to formally apologize to him next time I speak with him about, and I'm going to bring up that matter. Remember what I said about the Social Security disability income? I am so sorry. I get it now. I got some new intel on how it works, so I understand it now. It'd still be nice to get off of it, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I think the goal really should be to get off of it as quickly as possible before you're 30. Before you reach into your 30s, at least.
As quickly as possible in a rational way.
Yes.
You can't get off of it and not have any income.
No. Set the goals properly low so that they're attainable, so that you can reach your income. You got to start somewhere, though. And staying on Social Security disability income, that's fear. That's fear. That's weakness. You actually want to get off of that, right?
Unless you're highly disabled and cannot. Remember the IQ that we were talking about?
That's right. And fun fact about IQ, I wanted to mention this on the podcast too. Glad you brought that up. The military won't recruit you if you have an IQ of less than 87 points. So anything below like 90s and lower 80% IQ points, there's actually nothing that people can do. Statistically, there's no job that actually suits that with that level of complexity. What's the solution to that? And the solution to that is Social Security disability income. That explains why the tax goes into it, to help these people live, so they can live at least. It's a form of compassion. Yeah, to help us and help everybody else out as well. And then, so it makes more sense now. So it's not always weakness. These are pretty much all these people got. Could be, but I'm in the process of updating the belief that I think that anybody can, or should they so choose to, but maybe not everybody. There are certain for certain populations of people that they can't. Much as I hate saying that, as a reality.
I mean, it is reality. Sometimes we hate it, but we can't change it.
I still think you can get up and into your routine of a part-time job here and there that you enjoy doing, or if anything, sell something on eBay. Like start up your own thing with either a family member or a generation.
Okay, so let me put something in perspective for you. Okay, so we have a friend that recently got into trouble. Imagine her sister trying to get a job.
Her sister?
Mm-hmm.
You mean the sister of the one that got in trouble? She can do it. She's a separate person from the sister, right?
No. So the person who got in trouble that you and I are both close to, the sister, the one that's really disabled.
Oh, sorry. Yes, now I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Imagine her.
Yeah, no, she can't. She can't actually get right. She can barely walk. So.
Yeah.
And
So
that's why,
security comes in. So
and that's where that comes in. Yeah. But what do you think of some of our friends that are on it? You think they can get off of it?
Yes.
Yep.
If they set their mind to growing up a little bit, and sorry if that sounds harsh, but they have the potential to be able to get a job, make their own living, and save up and live their life.
Yep.
They have that potential. They just don't see it.
They don't see it either, neither did I at the time. At some time ago, I have a picture on here that I wanted to show the audience of. That was me. That was me. And at that time, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it either.
Can you do a description so that the audio?
Sure. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. So the audio file. I'm holding up a picture here. This is me back in 2014, where I was I was fat and almost 300 pounds, and I was still, I guess you could say in that time I was still in recovery from what happened to me in my senior year. I was hospitalized for psychosis and had a good chunk of my memory went missing. So I had to like reteach myself a lot of beliefs and a lot of different things that I know now. That it's now I look at it like, thank God that happened, because God, whatever it was, hooked me up, because here I am. I'm like 197 pounds, and house, car, I can drive, and I have a lot to thank for that too. I can thank this McKinley Elementary School for saving my life. I can thank my mom and dad as well, for getting me through it, and I can also thank the employee in the employee system that's been redone. I think it's been redone in like late 2015, 2016. That when Obama was president, he did some kind of like job stimulus ideas to make it more available to people to get hired. And I remember that happening, and because I job searched for 3 years after my school days, and I was again 300 pounds, getting rejected a lot. And a lot of it was beliefs that I had that were dead. In fact, one of the beliefs that I used to have, believe it or not, here I am, the very kind of asshole that I used to hate on, is a rich money, got some money in the, like, owning a house. I got my own property. Somebody who's made it in the world. I used to be so jealous and envious of these people during that time as well. And I had a belief that money was the root of all evil. I had the belief that there was some dirty capitalism out there that was running things that were preventing guys like me from getting there. Terrible belief system. Poor person belief system. I had to dispense with that. I completely killed that belief. It is gone. Ashes. It's literally fertilizer in my brain that has made for new growth for a new forest. And in doing that, I believe that money is a resource. Time is an even more valuable resource. You can get money back, but you can't get time back. So dwelling on stuff, not worth it. And it's not worth my time. And that's where I talk about killing the old self. What I mean by that is, don't dwell on that guy. Don't rest on your laurels, is what I'm saying.
But at the same time, you want to make sure that you keep them in the back of your mind to be able to progress, to be able to yourself and motivate yourself.
Yep. And I like how Callie pointed out some time ago that I can't forget that was also me. I had a tendency to separate that version of myself as a separate person. And I would bully that person, man. Like I'm a straight up ass towards people like that sometimes, especially if they're not getting after it. That I know that they can. then I got to remember, it's like, oh, stay humble, Alex. That used to be you, you know. And I'm learning better to do that. Because it works. It generates results. I know how to get there, I know, and everybody's different. I get that, but I think there really is a concrete truth to a way that people can manifest themselves in the world. Another way, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You first.
There was a topic that you wanted to talk about arguments and how to best handle them. Yeah.
So, Callie, what was the argument about that you had earlier? Something about the coffee cup, right? The coffee.
Got my coffee out.
Yeah. So, Callie and I kind of set up the scenario as if it was like a mock argument. Like she was arguing to me about whatever it was about her coffee. And I would strengthen your words. I would help you articulate your side of the argument stronger. And then I would input my side of the argument as best I can articulate it. And then either you or I may come up with a solution to whatever the problem is that we're arguing about. I think the solution that I came up with, well, why not you get your own cup and put your name on it? And that was the solution to the argument that we came up with. It was like, and then you were like, then you relaxed. You were like, then you even kind of dropped the whole argument without even thinking about winning the argument. That thought was dispensed with immediately. It's like, I don't have to win this now. We just eliminated the problem. And, that's how I argue. And if I'm wrong or if the solution doesn't work, hey, we learned, okay, argument's already done with. We've already have no hard feelings about the argument. We tried a solution. Either it works or it doesn't. Like, oh, but at least we tried. We tried something,
It
so
works.
that's how I argue. That's how I try to argue anyway. Because perception, what I could be right about, maybe under a different perception from someone else, like, is it a 6 or is it a 9? You may have seen that meme every now and then on Facebook. Like, is it a 6? Here's a 6. Or is it a 9? It's a 9 on his side. And that's another thing that I see with my buddy on Social Security. His perception of money is different to mine. So our perception. So I may be right with the solution, but it might not be his right as well. So I assume people that I listen to might know something that I don't. I picked up some critical intel about the way Social Security income works. So on the off chance that I ever have to make use of it, I know a little bit more about it. So I can, if ever comes down to where I have to get Social Security, dear God, I hope not. So any like employee opportunities out there, please keep me open for consideration. Okay. I never want to end up like that ever again. So that's my goal. I don't want to. I'm running from that dragon of chaos. So speaking of which, another dragon of chaos. Not a dragon of chaos, but here, I was gonna say the next topic I made a note on was show me your friends now, and I'll show you your future. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. And I think this also includes family members. If a man or a woman comes of a certain age where they can start making decisions for themselves and who they ask for advice from or who they allocate time with. Here's a scenario. Son or daughter, but the father is an alcoholic. Or the father or the mother is an alcoholic, right? The immediate family member is an alcoholic and has got some attachment issues and just doesn't have their life together. But you have an uncle or an aunt who's got the shades on, he's flown a plane, he knows how to ski, he knows how to do these different things. When the person comes of age, why the hell not start hanging out with the uncle? Like, start hanging out with the uncle. It's like, hey, uncle, call him up. Hey, uncle, and initiate the um, conversation where, hey, I want to let's go hang out. We can go do this. And if the guy's like, if he's too busy, which he likely is, if he's a high performer, he's likely going to be busy. But you set up a date to hang out with him somehow, right? And if uncle can come over for something, or it's kind of a hard thing to do because you got to have a lot of balls to ask that kind of question to a high performer. But say if the father's an alcoholic or mother or whatever, one of the immediate family members is an alcoholic, but yet the person old enough to drive around and make it in the world themselves, why the fuck are we seeking validation from the alcoholic? Why the hell are we still seeking validation of guilt and shame from the people that have been abusing us and people that have are not performing? Why the hell not spend time with the people that are actually making it, and allocate our attention and our resources? Not so much have to hang out with them, but at least follow them, see what they're doing, get some knowledge as to what they're doing that's making them so successful. And then you'll feel better about yourself. Oh, I'm doing a lot of this now. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So this includes with friends too. These are the people that I'm following on social media platforms. So not him, like guys like this, high performers like Pat Mack, Jocko Willink, and and other people like that. And here I am, like a lot of resemblance there now, right? But on the flip side, you hang out with monkeys, you're going to become one. And man, I became a fucking monkey. So as for the audio file out here, I just showed some pictures of high performance people that I follow on Instagram. Shout out to Pat McNamara, and who is a tactical weapon and self-defense and motivational coach. And he's also a retired Green Beret military veteran. He's got a lot of skill sets. This is the uncle that I want to hang out with, right? You got Dan Pena, who is dubbed the $1 trillion man, shaking hands with one of his students, one of his graduates. I'm holding up a picture here. And then the monkeys that I'm talking about, the people that we need to cut off some of these people, right? I'm not going to mention this guy by name, but we got this pretty much like the betatization of the male figure, low testosterone. The human handshake has actually weakened in the past few years. The pounds per square inch for a handshake has actually weakened, and testosterone levels have dropped. There's a correlation. So we're dying out. We're dying out. Like, as men, we're dying out. And if veterans are concerned about this now, I'm going to listen. Because, if they're concerned about us dying out, it's like, well, I'm going to listen because they've seen death. They've been around, people who don't make it, and people who do. I mean, they know the difference. And then I also held up a picture of a Travis the chimpanzee, and he's kind of like dressed up, kind of like sitting there fat and on his ass. He's not in the wild. He's not actually competing for like resources and shit in the wild. He's a chimpanzee that's been, civilized, not only civilized, not so much civilized, but betatized. You know what I'm saying? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Just yesterday, I had to make a choice to hang out with a certain group of friends or another. Some of my good friends of mine are were working out at Charter Fitness yesterday. However, my other group of friends, the monkeys, no offense, okay, screw it, freedom of speech, right? I'm gonna bite them in the ass today. They wanted to go to the Blueberry Festival One of them doesn't drive, and the other one is taking advantage of unemployment. He can't keep can't keep working. He's working on himself, more to speak, but working for himself. Who am I going to hang out with more? People who can drive themselves, who are keeping jobs and working out at Charter Fitness, or the monkeys? I chose to hang out with Rosh and a couple other buddies that I'm working out at Charter Fitness, and then we had a good time. We had dinner at a chicken place, right? I came home and I'm like, right on. I didn't have to transport any of them myself. I didn't have to like do anything for them. Hell, half the time I hang out with the other monkeys, I have to buy them dinner. They can't pay for their own food. So why in the hell, hang out with low performers where they're energy vampires. They're sucking my energy. So I'm paying for their shit. I'm going to go on a fucking rant here a little bit, so bear with me. Or am I going to hang out with high performers who can manage themselves, who work even harder than I do? I got one guy that's out there. He's working 2 jobs full time, and he's got a couple dogs that he's taking care of, and he is hilarious. He's a nice man. He is, thank God opportunity came knocking where I get to hang out with people like this, right? I'm like, thank you guys so much for. I've been looking for people to hang out and work out at the gym with me as a performer, right? And here we are. So show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. That's my future. I'd rather hang out with a high performer. I have a high performance future than a low performance future. I haven't mentioned any of them by name because I don't want them to know who's who. They wouldn't know. Because the monkey friends, I love them to death. But if it's sucking the energy out of me, I'm not really obligated to go there every time. I'll hang out with them, but as long as they got their shit together. Yeah.
So, I wanted to give a shout out to our editor, Kev.
Yes.
You have done amazing, great freaking job.
High performer, and he's really good at what he does. Like he's into the whole video editing. He's very technically savvy, and he's got some gear, Callie. He's got some good gear. Yeah. Unlike, I'm not a crap on your Mac again, okay? Unlike your Macintosh, right? Your Macintosh computer, you can't. It takes like a few, like 10 seconds to a minute to load something up, or an hour to upload a video or more.
5 hours to try to.
Oh my God. Yeah. Get a PC. Get a PC. Get a high performer.
Yep.
High performer. So Kevin, he is the linchpin of this thing that we're doing. He is like the man. He is the man as far as like our ability to broadcast onto YouTube and edit the videos and get this message out there. With his skill set and what he does. So right on, Kev. We love you, man. And I know that Kevin has a tendency to go into the negative a lot as well. So, I mean, I feel for him. We do. And he's an amazing guy. He's very skilled at what he does. Absolutely. But I think more so than he gives himself credit for. So.
Good job, Kev.
Thanks, man. We hope to have you back on here sometime.
So, I wanted to make an announcement real quick. I am going to be doing some work on where I am putting our audio and video. Alex, you and I are going to talk about this after the live stream, but we will be going on more platforms.
Yay. Awesome. Yes. So what do we got now? We got Pandora still, don't we? We got Spotify and a couple others.
I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to recheck. But
yeah, we'll get back onto them soon.
We will.
Oh, yes, that's great news.
Yep.
Right on. And I'm hoping that Notre Dame Best Buddy starts back up again in person, because definitely going to be expanding this into Notre Dame and mentioning this to a couple other people that run it. Because before Corona hit, I had an opportunity to speak at Notre Dame before any of this, a day to be me and this creation happened. So now we got this to promote, and we may have Callie, you and I may even someday have an opportunity to both speak on stage or somewhere at Notre Dame about what it's like to have through the lens of our disability and our way of life, what we've been given, God's gift.
I wanted to share some more good news. We will be getting an official domain name, so www.
Yes.
Not this coming week, but next week.
Yes. Woo! Let's go. We're back in business.
Yes, we are.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exciting. So next week or two, we'll be back online. That's what hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I'm excited for this fall. Like this winter season that's coming up, man. We got Best Buddies possibly reopening. And this is one of the good things is that everybody getting vaccinated. Things are finally like reopening up again. So, as far as like getting your vaccinations and shit, things are finally starting to come back around. At least, people are getting back to work as well. I'd say one more topic I took a note on about. I may have figured something about social anxiety. I thought about you, Callie, when you were at that party. You were at some kind of party, and you had way too many people kind of going on at once, right? And it caused a little bit of a panic attack. But I wanted to bring this up. I may have had an epiphany about that. Because you know how when we're born, we imprint on our mothers. It's a one-on-one contact, right? Let me look up my notes here real quick. Because like you and I, when we speak one-on-one, or when you engage in speaking one-on-one with anybody, there's no social anxiety, right? Doesn't seem like there is. So I think a solution to that would, even in a group conversation, is to look at the person that you're talking to one at a time. So you're devoting your attention to one person at a time during your group discussion. You can even draw people in to talk to somebody else. Like you could actually have somebody like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and tell this person what you think about this. And then they will have a conversation about it. And then you could be left alone for a little bit. You could be left alone to your thoughts. You can observe them talking. And then you can join back in whenever you're invited back, you're back in the conversation. And that takes practice. But I found this idea that talking one-on-one, where you look at the person, instead of taking in all the information at once from multiple parties, it's a hell of a lot easier. And I think that's how we're designed to socialize. Outside of that, yeah, it's anxiety provoking. You're in a room with like 3-4 more people having a conversation with you at the same time, or even like you may see someone in the distance looking at you. Part of the reason that the anxiety kicks in is because you're allocating attention to everything at once, and you don't even need to be paying attention to the guy that's sitting in the corner. He may just be spacing out looking at you. You ever get that where someone's like just kind of in the back and they're sitting like this, they're looking at you. That could mean they're just spacing out. But when you give them that attention, now they're actually looking at you. Instead of you're in the moment with someone else that you're having a conversation with one at a time, right? We're designed to have one-on-one. We're designed to be imprinted on each other, one-on-one conversations, because that's how we learn as when we're born. Facial recognition, that all starts when we were born. So I have a theory about that. That's my theory about social anxiety and a possible solution to overcoming social anxiety in a group setting is where you allocate your attention to the person that you're following and looking at. Yeah. So what do you think of that?
Well, that does bring up a good point, but with my case, it's more of my being an empath. You know how I can that. Well, imagine being in a room or a social setting with 50 plus people, being able to feel everyone like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then afterwards, it's so draining, you want to go home and just crash in your bed.
Okay.
It gets to the point like where I'm in the van nodding off because of how
exhausting. Yeah.
I am. That's where the anxiety sets in. Is the fear of feeling.
Okay. Are you able to sometimes?
I can't separate myself from it.
Are you able to? No, you can't like focus it in a certain direction at a time.
It would take practice. I haven't done that yet.
Okay. And it does. I wonder, because I'm used to it. You know how many interactions I have working at a hardware store? Oh my God. Because not only am I speaking with the customer, I've also got my boss that's listening in on how that's going down, right? And then I also sometimes have to switch my attention to speaking with the boss, and then and on top of what I'm doing to get the downstock done. So I think working in a working environment, it teaches you. You get a lot of practice working in a working class environment like that, where you get used to the social anxiety. You're actually able to come home and like even not give a crap about some of the people that are there. Actually, not only like in a negative way, but I mean like we have had a second assistant that's not there anymore. I found out as to why that was. It was because apparently like he didn't like me that much, right? There was some kind of like personal thing going on there because I wasn't quote unquote normal. Well, guess who's still working there? I am. So that ability to shift attention to people who are actually in it for you and disassociating with people who actually are out to get you. There are some malevolent forces in the world that don't want you around. They don't want you to make it because if you're quote unquote not normal or something, right? Well, usually these people get found out eventually. And yeah, karma hit and he's not there anymore. So, and I'm still there. So, that was pretty cool thing to note. As far as like social anxiety goes, instead of reacting to it explosively, which happens, it's emotionally draining if you're not tuned to and practice on how to function with, almost like the gray rock method. It's like, okay, is that right? I'm fresher than a mother. I'm fresher than a motherfucker. And you're actually able to have that gray rock method for some people who are like that. You're immovable then, you're unstoppable at that point. They can't hurt you then. Like David Goggins, taking souls, can't hurt me. Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? All right. So Callie, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And you want to go ahead and promote your website and your book as well. And
okay, so our website is www.thoughtsatmidnighttalkshow.com. I mean .wordpress.com. www.thoughtsatmidnight talkshow.wordpress.com.
Is this sharing?
Yes.
So there's that. There's the team. Right on, Kevin. Me, you, and then your book.
And my book is, if you search for the Soul, Sarah Cox. H.
Yep.
Sarah Cox. You will find my book.
And it is on Kindle and paperback.
Oh.
And let's go get some.
Okay, well, this concludes the talk show. Have a great day.